them on our website. So we have all our previous versions are up on our website. I'm going to put that link into the chat. That way you can check those out. So I'll leave it to you, Jackie. Go ahead.
All right, great. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining. As John said, my name is Jackie Costa. I am the Quality Assurance Supervisor for CECOMS, and I've actually been here with CECOMS for almost 20 years. I've held every role from call taker up into the senior position that I'm in now. So I have a lot of experience with MABIS. We've done quite a few of those. So I'm just going to talk today a little bit about mutual aid, MABIS, and then a little bit about mass casualty and just basically how CECOMS can help our partners when we have these major incidents that need a lot of people to respond. So very briefly, what is mutual aid MABIS? MABIS stands for the Mutual Aid Box Alarm System. It's a mutual aid system for fire departments. It was established for orderly response of mutual aid to stricken communities. Basically, it acknowledges the standards that are issued by the National Fire Protection Association, and they have standards on staffing and response. So acknowledging those standards that are requiring specific apparatus and manpower to respond to a certain incident type. So structure fire, high hazard, low hazard, high rise fire, regular house fire. So therefore, mutual aid is used to meet those standards because no fire department, regardless of their size, can provide the equipment and manpower to handle every single incident. I'm sorry, I skipped one line. The primary purpose of MABIS is to have pre-plans set for response to the scene of certain incident types. So what is our role here at CECOMS? We assist fire departments in the Heights-Hillcrest region of Cuyahoga County with managing large incidents that require a large response. I won't go through all those cities, but you can see the agencies that are in that region. And I have this kind of circled right here. This is the corner of the county that we assist with. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't assist with any other agency. This is just the region that we typically do. So we have agencies MABIS boxes, which are their alarm levels. They usually goes up to a 5th alarm, which is the highest local MABIS alarm level. Anything over a 5th alarm may actually require state response activation, and we also coordinate that here at CECOMS for you. So if we have exhausted all of our county resources, the incident commander can say, hey, let's do a state response, and then just contact CECOMS and we can coordinate that for them so they don't have to worry about anything else. The agencies that we support typically handle their own incidents up through a 2nd alarm, especially the regional departments that have multiple dispatchers on duty where they can handle, more calls. For higher level responses, so a 3rd alarm or higher, CECOMS should be contacted for organizing and dispatching the additional resources. So basically what we're saying is, you have exhausted all of your local resources and now you need resources from other areas of the county. So CECOMS will coordinate that for you. Each MABIS box has a pre-assigned apparatus and manpower requirements based on the incident type. So you typically have structure fires. You might have if you have high rises in your jurisdiction, then you're going to have a high hazard box. You have a low hazard box, which is usually like your single family dwellings, things like that. So those are the types of incidents that you have pre-assigned apparatus and manpower requirements based on that. And these are agreements that are made between the agencies. So the agencies make an agreement ahead of time that they would be willing to respond to certain incidents and certain levels, alarm levels, excuse me. Okay. This is just what a typical MABIS box looks like. This is what we have on file. So we have MABIS boxes on file for most of the county. I'm pretty sure the MABIS boxes outside of Cuyahoga County, or I'm sorry, outside of the Heights-Hillcrest region, we may not have your most up-to-date MABIS information. That's actually really important for us to have, because even if you don't need our assistance, it's always important to let us know what's going on. And if we have your MABIS boxes ahead of time here on file at CECOMS, if we needed to do anything to help the city, any type of dispatching resources or anything like that, we need to have those MABUS boxes so that we can refer to them. My contact information will be at the end of the presentation. If anybody that's on this call is a fire chief for an agency that is not in the Heights Hillcrest region, please send me your MABUS boxes so we can keep them on file here at CECOMS. So how do we activate MABUS? The incident commander determines the box and alarm level that needs to be dispatched. Like I said before, if it's a second alarm or below, typically the regional or single dispatch center is going to be able to handle that, because that also involves like some of your auto aid and things like that. So level 2 or below, usually the dispatch center handles it. But even though it might only be at a second alarm, we still should be aware of it in case the incident escalates or expands to county resources or beyond. There's numerous ways that we can get a hold of CECOMS. Obviously, you can call us by phone 24/7, 216-771-1363. There's always somebody that's going to answer that line. That's our email address here. I wouldn't necessarily recommend emailing a MABUS activation. I think calling on phone or radio is probably going to be your better bet. But that email does go to all CECOMS. So if you ever need any other services or anything like that, you can always email that address. And we also monitor on MARCS, we monitor XMTAC1, and on the Cleveland Regional System, we monitor the regional call channel so that we can assign interoperable radio communication talk groups for the incident. And then again, incidents third alarm or higher, you should contact CECOMS for further assistance. So what information do we need? As you can see right here, this is our form that we use when we're doing a MABUS request. We actually use it for testing too. So it just basically lays it out as a template for radio broadcast. So what is the information that we need? We need obviously the name of the requesting department. We need the MABUS box and the alarm number level. Location of the incident, any staging areas. So where does, oops, sorry, I see misspelling there, apologize. Where does Incident Command want the responding apparatus to go? Do they want them to go to a staging area? Do they want them to come to scene? So that's really important. And if there is a staging area, then we also need to know what that location is. Once we receive the MABUS information, we begin the activation process. We locate the correct MABUS box. We complete our form. And then we send the information out to responding agencies via radio and telephone. So we do a broadcast over the radio first, and any agency that is being requested to respond and did not respond by the end of our second broadcast, we do give them a phone call. Once we fill the alarm, the box alarm, we contact the requesting agency. We'll contact your dispatch center. We're not going to bother the incident command. We'll contact your requesting agency and let you know who's responding. So what do we do if somebody says, no, I can't respond? If a listed apparatus is unavailable, they cannot respond, they're on a call, there's the only squad in the city that they don't want to, leave their residents without services. So if an apparatus is not available, let's say on a third alarm, let's say we need an engine to respond to scene on the third alarm, and I can't get the engine that would normally respond is not available. What CECOMS does is we move down to the next alarm, find that same apparatus, contact that city, and so on until we get all of the apparatus that are requested until we get that responding. And then again, we can also assign interoperable radio talk groups on MARCS in Cleveland. So that's really important, because what you have to, think about is when you're having multiple agencies coming in to help with an incident, some people are on MARCS, some people are on the Cleveland radio system, some people are on the Parma system. So there has to be a way for all those people to communicate with each other. And that's where these interoperable radio talk groups come in hand. We can also patch, right? So we can patch a MARCS to a Cleveland regional. That's something that we do sometimes. So if you have some departments on Cleveland, some departments on MARCS, we can assign talk groups from each radio system and patch them together. So that brings me to the mutual aid for mass casualty incidents. And what does CECOMS do for a mass casualty incident? So Cuyahoga County does have a mass casualty incident response plan. It defines a mass casualty incident as an incident that involves several patients, but response capabilities go beyond what that single department can handle. Any incident that involves 10 patients or more is going to be automatically considered a mass casualty for plan activation. That's done mainly to make sure that the hospitals are aware of what's going on. CECOMS will make sure the hospitals know. I can say that we've had in the past where we've had incidents that we didn't know about, and the hospital started calling us like, why are you sending us all these patients? What's going on? And we didn't know what was going on because we had no idea. So I always ask the fire departments to try to remember that the hospitals are going to call us, okay, when they want to know what's going on. They're going to call CECOMS because that's how they've been trained. So it's really important that even if you don't want CECOMS to do anything else for you, you got everything else under control. You don't need additional units. You don't need additional manpower. Everything's under control. That's great. But if it's 10 patients or more, CECOMS is still going to activate EM resource, which is going to notify the hospitals. And like I said, so once the declaration comes in, we send the alert to the local hospitals. And what that alert does is it's us asking for their capabilities of the hospital. So how they can handle incoming patients, how many reds can they handle, how many yellows, how many greens. I'm going to explain what those mean here in just a second. So we get the capabilities of those. And we also, again, establish that interoperable radio communication, which is so important. So this right here is just an example of a triage area. And what you can see is yellow, red, green, right? So I have it in a slide down a little further, but your red patients, if they're triaged and they're tagged as red patients, that means they're the most critical patients that really need that immediate transport. If they're tagged as a yellow patient, it means they still need attention. They still need medical help. However, they're not critical. They can be delayed for a little bit. And then your green is your walking wounded. Those are people that they have minor injuries. However, they are up, moving around, walking around. You typically want to get them out of the area or somewhere where they can go so that you can handle the rest of it. And then we just had a mass casualty incident training a couple weeks ago, or last week. It was last week. On the Good Time 3. So I have included some of the photos from that. You'll see this is one photo from that. The medical examiner was on scene. So what do we need to know? We need to know the location of the incident and staging area. I know I have said this numerous times, but that's how important that information is. And for a mass casualty, we have to have the zip code of the location. And the reason why we need the zip code is because when we put the activation into EM resource, that zip code determines who's going to be notified based on the radius. So it's really important that we get a zip code along with the location of the incident and the staging area. What type of incident is happening, how many patients, what are the jurisdiction's current needs, and what agencies are already committed to the scene. That's an important piece for CECOMS to know, because if we already have an agency committed to the scene, we're not going to call that agency and ask for more help. So it's important that we know that. And type of incident, that could be anything from a plane crash, which is what it is, to a active shooter incident, which is dynamic and constantly changing. So it could be either one. This is EM resource here. Okay, so this is just the current hospital status, and CECOMS keeps that up all day, every day. It's up on our big screen. It never comes down. And then down here, this is what a bed capability would look like in a mass casualty incident. It's telling us how many, for that particular hospital, how many reds can they take, how many yellows can they take, how many greens can they take. So we create that alert in EM resource. We also put it in EM track, which is, EM track is the dispatch, or I'm sorry, the responder side of EM resource. So that is where the patients are scanned in as they're tagged, and then they can be tracked throughout the entire transport process. And it makes it much easier for us to find them should family members be looking for them. So we send the alert out. We give the hospitals 20 minutes to log in and update their emergency department capabilities. However, most hospitals in our region tend to update that every day or so. So I understand, like, 20 minutes, you might have patients that are ready to go before that time. We're going to go off of the basic, whatever they have in there is what we would go off of at that point until they updated their capabilities. And we consider like reds, yellows. So like our reds, of course, we're going to send those to the trauma centers. Burns are going to go to Metro. Our yellows, they might be able to go a little bit further out to your satellite hospitals. And your greens can go even farther to one of the outlying community hospitals. Once patient transport is ready, CECOMS will remain in close contact with transport officers so that we can assist in patient transport. So the transport officer is going to ask for bed counts. They may give us specific hospitals that they want, or they may just say, hey, I need everything, whatever you can give me. So once they're ready to transport, we will coordinate that with them, usually via radio. That tends to be the easiest way to do it. And we'll get those patients transported to the appropriate locations, appropriate hospitals. Once all patients have been transported, the transport officer should advise CECOMS that all patients have been transported. This does not mean that the incident is over. It just means that we've taken care of all the patients and we don't need to do any more patient transport. There we go. So these are a few pictures from the exercise out on the Good Time 3. We had the County Fire Mobile Command Bus, which is really, really nice command bus. In fact, there were radio issues for everybody outside of the command bus, but we were sitting in it and we heard everything. So it works really, really well. It's a great command bus. And just some pictures of, this is Rocky River Fire, or Rocky River EMS, Cleveland EMS, Cleveland Fire, and then just a little picture of a briefing right before we start the exercise. So MCI training is actually really, really important. And it's important when you do MCI training that you include your dispatchers, because they're the ones that are really going to be doing a lot of the coordination for you. And they're going to most likely be the ones that contact CECOMS for assistance. So please include your dispatchers in your training. It's really, really important that they are involved in that. Cuyahoga County trains on how to handle mass casualty incidents on a regular basis throughout the year. I know there's, a ton of RTF training, active shooter training that EM puts on for our public safety partners, and they always do such a great job. And training exercises can range from anything from a tabletop to an actual full-scale exercise. Full-scale exercise includes real patients. So we have volunteers that actually get like makeup and everything on them to look injured. So it's real patients and real transport to participating hospitals. If no hospitals are available to participate in the exercise, then patient transport might be simulated. And that's really all I have. This is my contact information. Please feel free to call me with any questions at all. And like I said earlier, if we have our any suburban fire departments that are on this webinar that are not in the Heights-Hillcrest region, please, send us your MABUS information so that we can keep it on file. So when the big thing hits, we have everybody's MABUS so we can refer to that. So I'll leave my screen up just for a second, John. Just so everybody can take a moment to get a snapshot of that. And then I'll ask you, were there any questions in the chat?
No questions came up. But if there are, obviously there's Jackie's information there. If you had any questions, feel free to reach out to Jackie directly as well.
All right. And like you said, you keep these on file and stuff, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. If you
oh,
could just go to the next slide and yep. So thanks again, Jackie, for that. Lots of great information. We will, I'll email the slides out for one. So if you didn't get a chance to capture her contact info, I'll send it out. And then two, again, this is being recorded. It'll eventually be posted on our website there. You see our link. That's just at our cuyahogacounty.gov/PSJS. We have all of our sessions are posted up there. This one will go up soon, next couple days, maybe next week. Our next session then is going to be in October 16th. We're going to have our Witness Victim Services department's going to be talking about, oh, I did not edit that. They're going to be talking about domestic violence awareness. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So they're not going to talk about mass casualty. That was today. But they're going to talk about response to domestic violence incidents and how they can assist with that. And then we have our fiscal grants one coming soon. And we may have one, like I mentioned, we have a new Office of Violence Prevention. I'm going to see if she's interested in doing one as well. So we may have two more, but definitely at least witness victims and grants. We do have a question I see coming up. Was this class, this is for you, Jackie, was this class only for the Heights Hillcrest region? Do you want to talk about that?
yeah, I mean, the Heights Hillcrest region is just the region that we tend to assist. But it's not, this information is not limited to just them. Like I said, if it's a suburban department that is outside of the Heights Hillcrest region, we welcome you to please send us your MABUS information, send us your boxes so that we have them on file, because we can use those, if we get to a fifth alarm or a third alarm or even a fourth alarm, where we have to start looking outside for other agencies, and we are going to need to start referring to other MABUS boxes. So it is important to send that, and this applies to everybody, not just Heights Hillcrest.
Yeah, great question. Hopefully that answers the question there. We've got another question here. CECOMS, yeah, that's a great point, Chief Galgus. He says, CECOMS is a great backup for MABUS plans.
Yes, exactly. That and that's that does bring me to an important piece of information that is important to know. CECOMS isn't asking for your MABUS boxes or anything so that we can take over the MABUS process for you. We just want to have them on file so that when that big incident hits, we're not scrambling trying to find who can we send, where can we go. We'll have something to refer to. So we certainly are not in the business of trying to take that over from your dispatch agencies. We're here to help. We want to help. We know that these, especially these smaller dispatch centers that may only have one or two dispatchers on duty, when you have a mass casualty incident or even a major fire incident, there's so much going on, and it's really, really difficult for one person or even two people to handle contacting all these mutual aid departments. So we're here to help, not take over. We want to help.
Absolutely, yeah, and as Chief Galgus put there in the chats, your dispatch center may get overwhelmed. Who knows? Things could go down. So CECOMS just as a backup.
Yep.
So always good practice there. So yeah, great point there, Chief, and thanks again, Jackie.
Thank you, Chief.
Other than that, that's all we had for you guys today. Look for, like I said, this will be posted up on our website here, and then look for the invites for our October session there in the next couple days as well. Thank you again, and hopefully we'll see you in October.
Thanks so much, everybody.